Okay.
You guys live?
Live right now? Oh, wait.
It will take a few seconds. It'll pop up right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see you live.
We're live right now? Awesome. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Wake Up and Makeup Show. I'm your host, Katt Panic, and we are here on Just TV today talking to the amazing Splatterhouse of Lethbridge. And this is Erin, and you are the accomplice of Splatterhouse?
I am, yeah. I get to be the PR person.
The PR person! Awesome!
While the evil genius creates, I promote.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's nice that you're so supportive and able to help, create this wonderful thing we have here in Lethbridge. It's like a hidden gem, really.
It is. We kind of like it that way. It's not we like all the guests. It's part of what keeps everybody, all of the scare actors out and warm is the more people to scare, right? So it really is. It's all about bringing people, but at the same time we want to keep it like old-fashioned in the sense of somebody has to tell you about it, word of mouth. We don't have a lot of social media stuff. I mean, we're really thankful that you let us do your show and you post about us on Facebook, and it definitely helps spread the word, but we don't have our own page or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool. It's kind of like this, when I talk about it, people are so excited to hear, like, what? There's a Splatterhouse? But do you guys know the haunting culture? Like, do you know about haunts and things? And they're kind of really new to it. So can you explain to us exactly what haunting is? Like the haunt culture, the Splatterhouse? Like, can you explain to us what the concept is exactly?
I mean, I can say what it is for us. I can't say what it means to everybody, but we definitely, for us, it's that good old-fashioned, scary Halloween fun. I mean, when I was a kid, and I think back to my most memorable moments and the most fun I ever had, I remember my friend's mom packing us up in her van after school and feeding us grilled cheese sandwiches and stuff. And then, when it was a reasonable time to go knocking on people's doors, we'd all pile into the van. There'd be thermoses of hot chocolate. She'd let us out at the end of one block and pick us up at the end of the next. And I remember, somebody's dad or grandpa or that person in costume on a rocking chair on the porch, and you're just never quite sure, are they real? Do you reach around to ring that bell? And that genuine good scary feeling. I don't know, some people enjoy that feeling of being scared. So for us it's that. It speaks to the people who like that feeling of being scared.
Oh, that's great. So when it comes to, because you guys consider yourselves a haunt, right? Like the haunt culture, the haunt. Haunts are basically like haunted houses on steroids, basically.
Yeah. I mean, from your funhouse maze to your McCamey Manors and your, if anybody knows about McCamey Manor, they are a haunt in the States. My boyfriend is absolutely enthralled by the idea, right? But a little too extreme for our small town. To me, that's less of a haunt, less of the traditional idea that we see it, or that I do anyway, less of the traditional idea and more of it's kind of like how long can you last the torture? It is McCamey Manor, really. It's so it's from one end of the spectrum to another, and it just kind of depends on what speaks to your Halloween idea of fun.
No, that's so awesome. So basically, how long have you guys been doing this?
Kevin's been at it much longer than I have. He has been doing, originally he was on 6th Avenue across, down from the Pirate House.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Kerbers at the Pirate Ship House.
So good.
They definitely made sure last year in our new location was good for our scare actors. We had a lot of traffic thanks to them, telling people where we were when people were asking at their house where we were. So, where were we?
Oh yeah, so how long has he been doing this?
So he started on 6th Avenue probably 15 years ago, maybe a little better.
15 years?
Yeah.
We've had a Splatterhouse in Lethbridge for 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it started small. It was just, one scene in the house behind a window and then him moving around, and it's slowly kind of picked up and grown and become more than we can do by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We rely a lot on the support of the community, and a lot of our scare actors are friends from work, or some just people who have come by when the house starts getting set up and they ask and they're really interested, and it goes down in history that they're just one of those people who get their own box eventually and their own scene and do their own thing.
Mm-hmm. No, that's amazing. So basically, because I interviewed you last year, right for Halloween,
Yes.
and this is a one night only event.
Yes.
So they have to come tomorrow night, or
You
they miss out
betcha.
for the entire year.
Yes, so and this year we're doing kind of a special show. Yeah, a mini show right at the beginning. Gates open,
Mhm.
so I won't say much more than that. But you kind of got to be there when gates open at 6:30.
6:30.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'll just sort of be walking by the carnage, and you just won't know.
Really? So is
Mhm.
every year different?
We try to make it different because you hear, right? When you're an actor, you hear people talking along the way. So, you'll hear whether it's a kid trying to be really brave, that was there last year. I know that's not real. So you try to change things. There's props that we recycle and things that get worked into something else. But you try to change things up every year. This year, Kevin has gone out of his way. There's a lot of new construction, so we'll have to see what that means.
Totally. Well, I've been watching his Instagram. It's just been a giant tease.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, oh, what is he going to come up with this year? Like, every time I watch it, and like, I don't know for you guys, but this year, killer clowns have been my #1 makeup request. So I don't know if you guys are like kind of, bleeding into the community a little bit more, and everyone's really gearing into like the whole clown thing. But people are really into it, and so I've been really excited because I've also been into it. I'm doing all these makeups. I'm seeing the stuff he's building on his Instagram, all the little teasers. I'm really excited to see what he's got going on this year.
Yes. Yeah, this year he's done a lot of extra work. It's been a little bit more this year than other years for us. Last year was enough moving to the new location, but we decided to get a puppy this summer, so it changes things a little bit.
Yes.
Construction is a whole other demon when you have a tiny puppy. So he's really put a lot of effort into this year. We're hoping that we had about 500 people last year, which is down from our normal attendance, but at the same time, again, we're not really social media active, so it was us being on the show last year. Ryan Parker helped us out with some LED signage for a little while on Mayor McGrath. We, like I said, the community really makes it or breaks it for us, and so.
Oh, so tell me, why aren't you guys avidly, going on social media and advertising? Is there a reason behind that?
I guess a little bit to keep us apart from the rest. Just one of those things that helps us stand out, or makes us unique in ourselves. So again, we kind of that line, good old fashioned scary Halloween fun. So there really isn't anywhere that you're gonna find the invitation online. I mean, besides our shout outs to like come and check us out, but there really isn't like a page dedicated to post your photos here. We miss out on thousands of photos every year. Just knowing and seeing how many flashes go off when you're acting, that's that much that you're not seeing. But there's something that comes with not being in the new age, I guess. Kind of keeping that
Underground
older
feel?
mystique. Yeah, that underground older mystique about it, right? We've toyed with some ideas about handmade invitations and small vague business cards being given out and going around town. So we've toyed with a few ideas of physical things that you can touch and pass around versus
a little more uniqueness to it, right? A little more of a personal feel, even.
Yeah, and just to set us apart, not because there's anything wrong with the social media idea of it, but just as something that people are already doing. So instead of doing what everybody else is already doing, do something a little bit different, a little more us.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing. And it really sets you guys apart because you're, like I said, you're such a hidden gem in this community. Like, I tell people and they freak out and like, you gotta tell me what this is. And then I have to go into elaborate detail of like the culture of it and everything. So tell me, what is the creator's inspirations with everything? Like, does he pull from certain movies or celebrities?
Movies for sure. He's If on Halloween night he didn't aspire to stay in character for the entire night, I would say test his movie knowledge. Any kind of obscure horror movie that you think you might know, I would say test his knowledge. He's definitely a movie buff as far as horror goes.
Oh, great.
He's into the underground music culture, hip hop music culture. So there's a lot of horrorcore reference to certain paintings and monsters and ideas that he sets up, but he definitely pulls a lot of inspiration for sure. At our house, it is Halloween starting in like April. There's movies, marathons, things like that, just to kind of get in the mood and get ideas for what we're going to do this year and how we're going to wow. Because every year's sort of got to be better than the last. You can't go backwards.
No.
So the moment you start really wowing people and you start hearing that reaction, it always has to be one step ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So are you also into the horror movie culture and everything?
Yeah. I guess more, he inspired my love of horror movies, I guess. I was always into the makeup and the special effects side of things. But he definitely inspired my love of horror movies. Now I can get through them and see them more for the special effect aspect and less for the hide away and under the blanket and not watch, right? Now I kind of want to see and try to figure out how they set certain things up. But we kind of play off of each other's energy at Halloween. We have different skill sets. I mean, you'll see on the front of the house, right? If you look at the murals on the front of the house, you can sort of tell who paints it, that it was painted by two different people, right?
Oh, okay,
so,
I got that. Awesome. I'll have to definitely pay attention to that now that you pointed it out. So let me just ask you, did you see the new Halloween movie?
Haven't.
No. Did you guys pull any references from the new Halloween movie into anything this year?
Not the new Halloween movie. There's a few new movies on Netflix that you'll see some reference to.
Oh, I'm excited. I know which ones you're talking about too.
There's definitely a few things on there for sure. It was more less, again, more like B-grade horror movies and things like that, but there's always pop culture reference, right? So for your horror movie buffs and for your folks who kind of dabble in the idea, so there's things from references to it to you just kind of got to keep your eyes peeled and see what you see.
Well, I do know he has a thing for clowns.
Yes.
And do you know where that love came from?
Absolutely.
Can you enlighten us a little bit, or is this like a thing we can't talk about?
No, we totally can. He is a big ICP fan, Insane Clown Posse.
Yes.
Yeah, so part of the underground hip hop horrorcore music scene, one of his favorite bands. But I guess maybe farther back than that, one of the first concerts he ever seen live was Kiss. Right?
No,
when he was 11. Yeah,
really?
For sure.
Well, that explains a lot though, with the makeup and the theatrics, right?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. His mom used to wholeheartedly support his love of Kiss. She right down to hand sewing him and his friend wigs with black yarn and nylon and gluing the little silver tinfoil pieces on old like boots of hers and putting studs, like wood studs, and painting them black so they had Kiss platforms. So yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
it started from a young age.
Very young age, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I love hearing people's passions coming out as children, and then you see it as it grows, as they grow, right? And now look at this. We have a Splatterhouse created basically from his visions, right? It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we lucked out. We do have some incredible actors that look. It used to be that he, had people who would support him. Everybody works. Everybody's got families and things going on. So, just to get the help, Kevin would make sure that he had masks for people, props and gags and scenes set up, and you just kind of had to come and show up and help, right? Be a body and enjoy scaring people. So it kind of morphed into finding people who, again, with the same love of Halloween, sort of just throw themselves into it wholeheartedly. So we have a few of our actors that, just like us, start in July, August, and start doing props and making and creating and doing all kinds of wonderful things. So yeah, we are very lucky.
All right, so now the major question: how many pumpkins do you guys carve?
So we get 50 pumpkins donated by Save On Foods.
50.
Mm-hmm.
50.
You betcha, 50.
Wow.
So about 10 of those pumpkins don't make it into the pumpkin patch. They make their way to the pumpkin carver box.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a little creating that goes on there. This year we also managed to get a hold of some giant pumpkins. So
Like, what do you mean by giant?
were you at Save On North at all this year?
I was not, unfortunately. Please tell us more.
So for anybody who was at Save On Food North and saw their giant pumpkins, we managed to get a hold of 1 or 2 of those.
Wow. So how big is a giant pumpkin?
The large one took 3 or 4 guys at Save On to get it off the stand and into the truck.
It's like this big.
You gotta have a pretty wide arm span to get your arms around it. Yeah.
Right, that makes a lot of pumpkin pie.
It does. Yeah, it's gonna be nowhere near edible by the time we're done with it. But
oh, that's insane. So were you guys just like pooping your pants with excitement when you were able to get one?
We were pretty excited. Last year they didn't get large pumpkins. For whatever reason it didn't work out. Whether the farmer didn't grow them, I'm not privy to the details, but for whatever reason it didn't work out that the store had them to offer. So this year when they had them, we made some arrangements as quick as possible. We didn't want to get scooped on those. So.
Oh, absolutely. So you do carving on about 40 of them. 10 of them go into like a show, basically, a little show.
Yeah.
And then your big ones, are they also in the show? Or are they on display?
They are, yeah. They get worked in there as well.
Oh, that's so exciting.
The jack-o'-lantern patch is definitely one of our greatest ambiance creators, for sure. We have pumpkin carvers of all skill ranges. We don't discriminate. We don't mind the odd traditional jack-o'-lantern face in there, but we have some incredible artists that come out and donate their time just to hook us up. And Kevin himself, I think the other night, we had a few less people come out this year, just prior obligations, and the time frame just didn't work for them. So we had a few less people come out. So Kevin, I think he did 8 or 9 pumpkins himself the other night.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
He can do about 4 in an hour.
What? He is like a pro. Isn't his arms and hands super sore after? Because I carved 1 pumpkin and I'm done. I'm like, yeah, my hands are over it. Like, it's not happening anymore.
He, every superhero, or I assume villain, has to have some sort of a day job. So he does do windows and doors for a living.
Oh, so he's very...
Yeah, so he does that all day long. So it's not much more for him to do the pumpkin carving motion.
So now, if you carve the pumpkins, how do you keep them good until Halloween? Like, do you start right before Halloween?
We start right before. So Sunday, we had, was the day that we set for pumpkin carving. We had kind of a little come and go type deal at our house with snacks and warm boozy drinks and all the best stuff when you're going to ask people to come help you with things, right?
Yeah, bribery, right?
You gotta be a good host.
Absolutely.
Right? So we did a bunch on Sunday. I did a few yesterday. I'm on puppy duty this year. That's kind of my so I did a few yesterday while it was quiet at the house, and then we have a few more people over this evening that weren't able to make it on Sunday that came through this evening. So they're at the house right now, making sure things get finished.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
So now, is the puppy going to make it into the show?
Not this year.
No?
No, we haven't made it there with manners yet. Not yet.
Not enough manners to be in the Splatterhouse.
He would love to. He would love everybody to just see how awesome he is. He's super friendly, but just not quite there yet. Next year, we're hoping to work him into the show.
Oh, that would be just amazing. Yeah. So what kind of dog is it?
He's a Husky Mountain.
Oh my goodness, I have a Husky too. You're in for a treat.
Yeah,
mine's 10 now. Oh, and they don't slow down.
That's what I'm told. I have quite the road ahead of us, for sure.
But he'll make an excellent tribute to the show in future years. Absolutely.
I've already been searching accessories of all kinds, right? The cool Resident Evil style muzzles and things. If I can get him to agree to wear it for just a little while, just to be cool. We'll see what we can get him into, if anything.
Oh, I can't wait for next year now. I can't wait to see what happens. Oh my goodness.
you know, worst case scenario, he's got to go be babysat somewhere else so we can do
Oh, yeah.
Halloween. But he's already got lots of people volunteering. So.
Oh yes, I'm sure everyone sees him and they're like, oh my god, pick me. No, so when does everything because I imagine it takes days to build these things. So do you have to start weeks before, or is it like a day of, or how do you start building the splatterhouse?
As far as I mean, kind of depends on what we're changing, right? This year there was a lot of new construction. Last year was new construction just because we moved to the new location. So even just getting the basics down to have the gore boxes to have people go into was all brand new construction. And then you got to find the barn wood and the things to make it look old on the outside, but so that it's structurally sound on the inside, you make it with new stuff. So that was a lot in and of itself. But this year we just had to up the ante a little bit. So like I said, lots of new construction this year, lots of interesting new takes on stuff, things that we haven't done even at the old location. Definitely trying stuff that's different structurally. I don't want to give too much away.
Oh yes, keep it a surprise.
Right?
Yes.
It's I'm super proud of all the work he's done this year. It's a lot of extra he's put in this year just to make it that much more.
So I know that you guys moved into the new location last year. How did the neighbors react?
You know, it was pretty good. Anybody I saw in passing, I just kind of mentioned that if they found anything, you know, not in good taste or anything that they could see in their direct line of view or anything, I don't want to make you grumble while you're washing dishes or anything. Just let me know. We'll take it down. We'll move it. It's not a big deal. Feel free to come knock on the door and just let us know, right? I also tried to let as many people know as possible there would probably be a bit more traffic than you're used to on our little quiet cul-de-sac. A few people did pass me by after and say, you know, it was a lot more than a little bit more traffic. But they're prepared this year. You know, I've actually, in fact, met a bunch more people just in passing out and about, doing everyday stuff that happened to recognize me or, you know, Kevin as the Halloween house, right? Oh, you guys are the Halloween house on our block. So
it's like the tamest way of putting it.
Yeah.
The Halloween house, yes. We give candy on it.
We'll take that. We'll take the Halloween house. That's fine. You know, it's almost flattering in and of itself. You call us the Halloween house. So there's lots of houses that do things for Halloween, but in your mind, we're the house. Right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's kind of flattering in and of itself.
Yeah, well, and you guys are probably the most intense house we have in Lethbridge, I want to say, because we have the Pirate House, the Cribbers, and then there is a maze, in sort of off 13th Street. I did see a little bit of a maze, but besides that, there really isn't that much going on for haunted houses in the city.
No.
Because you have Creepy Hollow, but they're out of ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the city, there's really not that much.
I have heard there are a few interesting places and worthwhile stops on the west side.
Like the Giant Spider. I did see the Giant Spider.
I've heard that there's someone on a family, or at least a gentleman on the west side who does, out of his garage and on his driveway, builds a structure, builds a maze, if I'm not mistaken. Again, Halloween season, we don't really make it very far from our house.
Yeah, you guys are pretty busy.
It's the flip side of the coin, right? So this year I'm kind of hoping I get to do our walkthrough. So because I'm not acting this year, I kind of want to have the experience of going through. We don't get to do a lot of that. We're always on the other end. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, that will be just so exciting. Because I took my friends last year, and we were all just enthralled with it. It was so amazing. A couple of my friends were very scared. I was just my jaw was dropped. I couldn't believe. And I'm a big Rob Zombie fan, and I used to dabble in the Insane Clown Posse and stuff. I loved all of it because I totally got the references.
Yeah.
I thought it was just so amazing. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys do this year. It's just gonna be awesome.
There's, there's Rob Zombie. There's a few things that'll speak to you in there. We've added. We still have the prize bags this year. The 3 extra large prize bags for those kids who are extra, right? Whether your mom and dad put a lot of effort into your makeup, your costume. We definitely do go a little more on the scary side, for sure. That's more of a best costume at our place. Last year we had a fantastic evil clown. His parents, somebody worked very hard on his makeup and very hard on his costume. And he went through 3 or 4 times. He kind of like circled back and about.
He probably felt right at home. He was probably like, I need to be here. Why aren't I working at this?
He was quite happy. There was a little Viking warrior princess.
Aww.
With a costume I'm sure somebody handmade. There was furs and leathers, and she was ready to go, right? She had her, when I gave her the bag, she was lit up 4 different colors of brightness, and slid it on her arm, and it was about as tall as she was. She kind of had to walk with her arm up like that when she was going towards the bag. And straight ahead of her parents, couldn't have been more than 4 or 5. And straight ahead of her parents to the back, and her parents were thanking me for the bag. And I just kind of hollered after her, are you sure you're not too scared? You don't need to wait? Nope. And she just kept going. So, and there was some other 3D special effects. He did a great missing eye, and yeah, it was pretty fantastic. So we do have our 3 prize bags again this year for our kids who are extra.
So when you're saying extra, you guys definitely, you have like a heart for the more gory, the more scary. So like teddy bears and onesies, unicorns, is that really your dig?
No, I'm probably not going to make it. You know, they're cute and they have their place. I understand the warmth aspect, and there's a place for everything, but it's definitely not on the winner's podium at our house.
So, if you're willing to dress up your child in some scary gore, you need to come to the Splatter House. They appreciate it.
We sure do. We sure do. I've seen a few online. There have been a few great Beetlejuice costumes with the mom and dad holding the book for the recently deceased, and then they have standing beside them are obviously older siblings or cousins done with the dead face. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the stretched out mouth.
I only have 3 bags, but I would load the other kid's bag up with candy, and those 4 would win.
You get
down.
5, Mr. Biggs.
I'm not in control of the door this year, so it's not up to me, but I've seen some fantastic costumes show up for our place and, around in general. So we'll have to see what this year brings. Absolutely.
So now tell me about the weather. How does the weather affect you guys? Because this year, from what I've heard, it's supposed to be pretty windy tomorrow.
We are right on the coolie edge, so it does make a bit of a difference for our actors. Again, with the new construction this year, we're kind of hoping that it alleviates a little bit of that issue. Things are a little bit more blocked in, if you will. So we're hoping that it helps. But here in Lethbridge, I mean, I don't know, aren't we all used to it by now, really?
Totally, right? If it's not snow, it's wind. Or last year it was rain.
It was a little misty throughout the evening, but again, we had a decent turnout, and the screams were enough to keep the actors warm.
That's so amazing. So tell me just a little bit about the trials and tribulations you guys have had since, well, I guess obviously you've been in the part of the Splatterhouse since...
It's been 5 Halloweens now. This will be Halloween 5 or Halloween 6.
So, just from your experience, what have been some trials and tribulations from, the building, the planning, working with other people, working with the community? What are some things that have been, struggles?
Well, the community's never been a problem for us.
Really?
I've yet to experience any kind of uninterest or distaste for what we do. Maybe it's my positivity about it, and that I'm just so excited that people can't bear to crush my dreams with what they really think. But anybody I've ever I talk about it at work. I work at a financial institution here in town, and I talk about it at work. I talk about it with anybody who seems willing to listen when we get closer to that time, right? When people mention it or it comes up, I definitely pass along that there's a free event here in Lethbridge if you want to check it out. So the community's never been an issue for us. That's absolutely, we are very lucky for the support that we get. I mean, for instance, Avon could very well, based on, like you said, we're the least tame event here in town, and they know what we do, right? So they could very well choose not to want to have their name associated with something quite so extreme and not as fluffy and friendly. But They support our idea of safe, scary fun. Right? Nobody's going to get hurt. Nothing bad is going to happen to anybody. There's a possibility for anything, but for the most part, I mean, they could choose not to have their name associated with that, but in fact, they want to have signs out that say that they donated the pumpkins to us. So community's been fantastic. Weather is always 100% the top challenge.
Totally.
Wind, never so much. Snow makes a huge difference. It changes your lighting, it changes your atmosphere, it changes everything. So for sure, weather is always number one.
Yeah.
Working with people, we have some great friends. We have, and there's some people, one of our actors, for instance, we don't see him any other day of the year. Right?
He just shows up on Halloween?
When we send the text message a couple weeks before Halloween just to check in and see how things are going, is this still your number? And are you down for Halloween? His general response is, what else would I be doing?
There
I'll
you
see
go.
you there, right?
Loyalty, hey? Wow.
So we're pretty lucky in the people side of things as well. We don't have a lot of issue there. We've gotten a few actors, in fact, just by people showing up and just being so into it that they find themselves a place in a scene, and if Kevin checks them out and they're kind of naturally following the rules, simple rules, right? Just don't grab people, don't touch people. It keeps you safe and it makes them feel better. You can jump out at them, but just don't touch people.
Yeah.
It makes it easier. And you never know who's going to swing on you.
That's true.
Right? If you grab them and you surprise them and you're too close, you could get hurt, and that's the last thing we want. And it should be fun for everybody. So people have been, we've been lucky there as well. Sometimes you get down to crunch time. Yeah. And when you're an artist, it's never enough. Right? There's always things that you thought of in your head that you just didn't get time to do, or things that don't look quite the way you might have envisioned it, but you're running out of time. It is what it is. And when you listen to the general reaction out there, you know it paid off. Whether it is what you wanted it to be or not, it's what everybody else wanted it to be. They're enjoying it. So.
Oh man, that's so crazy. But I'm glad to hear that, generally you guys had a lot of support and you've had like a very positive experience, right? Now, thinking back to the other the famous haunts, the ones where people do touch you and chase you and pin you down or whatever. Yeah. And you have to sign a waiver before you get in. Yeah. Is that ever a route that you think you guys will go down?
I don't think so. I think we kind of like that ours touches a spectrum, a wide age spectrum, right? It's more depending on your bravery level and a little less depending on age appropriate, right? If you as a parent, if you're, like I said last year, you're the one who has to sleep with them if they have nightmares, not us. Yeah. So if you deem it appropriate, age appropriate for them, then you can bring them, you can come as a family. If you don't, you and Dad can trade off and you guys can go through yourselves. But we've had entire families show up, from grandma and grandpa right down to like little tiny ones in strollers, where the adults trade off and somebody hangs out in the front, right? But I think we like that it kind of is accessible to a broad range of people, more so than sign a waiver, have to be 18 plus, it kind of narrows your audience, for sure.
No, totally. And that's kind of what people usually ask when I do say that we have a haunt here. The first thing they say is, is there a waiver? It's because that's kind of what's been stuck in people's heads ever since they watched the documentary.
Of course.
Or anything like that. Like, and there's like those ones that actually like pick you up in a random place, take you off and like do crazy unspeakable things to you, leave you traumatized, like, well, happy Halloween. And you're like, what did you just do to me?
And for some, McKamey Manor has 17,000 people on a waiting list, so obviously it's somebody's idea of a good time for Halloween. It is not my idea of a good time. I think you're nuts. If that's what you want to do, that's torture, and signing up for torture to me. That's not fun. I think of the grandpa as a scarecrow on the porch and like jumping up at you. It's not meant to be what your human psyche can withstand on the torture side of things, right? At our house, there's kind of, not that anybody's gonna back off, because I don't think we go too far. Again, we don't touch people or anything like that, but if you're running screaming and we clearly have arrows pointed to the exit and you're headed that way, I mean, somebody's not going to get in your way, but it's not to say that somebody's still not walking behind you, right?
That's they're not going to chase you out, you know?
No, but it's not to say they're still not there. For sure, that's definitely not in my mind, a traditional style of a haunt. He's taken that somewhere completely different, and it shows, right? He's moved how many different times? When you watch anything on YouTube, anything that he's posted afterwards, after the documentary, he's had to move locations so many times, because what he does is certainly not everybody's cup of tea. Whereas I think ours is at least a little easier to swallow, even if it doesn't fit your particular sense of beliefs. It's meant to come across as fun, and I think it does.
Oh, for sure. And it's definitely festive, right? And like I said, it's like previously, because I do run the zombie walk and stuff, and I've handed it over now. But just because, like, I am a Halloween enthusiast. I think Halloween is, like, the best time of year. I've always, like, been a big fan. And for a lot of years, I felt like Halloween really dwindled down, and there wasn't really, you know, there wasn't even trick-or-treating going on anymore, because people were taking the kids to the malls, you know, buying store-bought costumes, which is fine. But, you know, there's just like, there was nothing going on. And suddenly our resurgence with the Halloween stores and the new love for it. And now we have these haunts coming in these haunted houses. And, you know, like, it's nice to see that people are working so hard to keep Halloween alive and Halloween spirit alive. Right?
Yes.
I think it's so important for that. People always talk about Christmas spirit and how we need to keep Christmas spirit alive. I do think Halloween in on its own is such a fun, artistic thing that we, as, like, you know, the horror lovers and, you know, people who are just obsessed with scary movies and everything scary, it's important to keep that alive, you know?
I think there's just as many of us as there are, you know, people who, for instance, I've been walking my dog in the neighborhood. There are people in the London Road neighborhood, and you know who you are. You have your Christmas trees set up already.
It's true.
You are outrageous.
Yeah.
I might be a little bit outrageous with Halloween in August, but you are wild with your Christmas trees in September. That's crazy.
Absolutely, yes.
So I think there's just as many of us enthusiasts for Halloween as there are people that love Christmas and the idea of time spent together and decorating and that kind of thing. So I mean, they can have theirs and I'll have mine.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, like, do you guys go through a little bit of a Halloween withdrawal after it's all done? Because it's only one night.
It's only one night, no. Because it's so busy, right? Because we both have full-time jobs, so when you come home after work and it's all Halloween all the time for 2-3 months straight, we're good.
Yeah, you're like,
we're good to pack it up for, you know, a few months, but the reality is that a lot of the things that are worked into the show come from our home decor, so it's not like they get put away. They just get put back in their spot.
I love it. So the whole house is basically a haunted house, and then on Halloween it just gets put out so people can see it.
Yeah, a little more Addams Family all year round for sure. There's our decor is definitely not Home Sense magazine.
I'm full behind that. I support that.
I gotta wait till Spirit Store and Halloween Store open every year to get like new home decor.
Isn't that great though? And I'm glad that those stores are actually bringing out like good quality items you can keep all year round. It's not just like flimsy paper posters and stuff. It's like, no, you can actually get this candelabra. You can get this beautiful candle. And these like glasses you can drink out of. It's like, wow.
And the canvas pieces and stuff that are in there, some of them are great. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. It's like, oh, I can buy this spiderweb painting all year round now. It's beautiful. So let's talk about these masks here, because you did bring some to show us.
I do, yeah.
So this one here.
That one is Kevin's mask. I believe that was Kevin's mask last year.
Oh, wow.
Unless that was actually, I think, the pumpkin carver's mask last year.
Oh, pumpkin carver.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's generally in a pumpkin-themed mask.
Mm-hmm.
He's been changed a little bit over the years. He started out as the pumpkin carver because he was done by one of our punk rock friends.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, yeah. So he was, that was his title for a little while. We had to retire that character when the actor was no longer able to take part anymore. So, yeah, so we found somebody new. It's okay. Don't feel too bad for him. He gets to do fun Halloweens with his family and his little girl now. So
I was gonna be like, oh no, and like, okay.
Yeah, he gets to do other fun stuff in a different way. So we changed the character a little bit, and I'm sure that was his mask last year.
It's great, and it looks like that there's a lot of like hand-done handiwork on here.
Yeah,
like it's pretty amazing.
I definitely would love to learn how and have the equipment and tools to lay our own latex masks. Not really a reality for us, so the Spirit Store and Halloween Store provide a lot of our base inspiration, but a lot of things get changed and added as extras for sure.
Absolutely. And this is just amazing. Like, really, the handiwork on here and the painting, like, definitely, if you see this in a dark light, it's very scary.
I do believe there's some blacklight paint and stuff worked into there as well, so that when he's in his gore box, he glows in a special way.
Very cool. Yeah. And what about this one here?
This is Kevin's mask for this year. Part of it, anyway. There's some added features that he hasn't put on yet. He wanted to leave a little something for just the show.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, he always works in the traditional dreadlocks, right? Just so that when he has to hide his in the mask, they're still there and people know it's him. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, always makes it his own. Obviously a little clown inspired. That's usually a staple for him as well.
That's great. I know last year, I think it was your mask. Was it the Spider Lady mask?
Yes.
Oh, that one was still my favorite. It was gorgeous.
It was a lot of work. That one was a lot of work. I sometimes bite off a little more than I can chew. And I run into a timeline sort of thing where it's like, you know, it's just going to be what it's going to be, and this is what I can do with the time that I have. I'd have to start, if realistically, we'd have to start in like March if we really wanted to accomplish all the things we end up imagining, so which is that's just too much.
No, I totally understand. So yeah, with all this stuff, and you make everything in the Splatterhouse basically, or you take, you build everything, right? And then you build the masks. So what happens to all these sorts of things when you're done? Like, do you take them apart? Do you reuse them, or do you store them away, put them in like a little Halloween museum in your house? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, the downstairs, Kevin has a jam room and I'm going to call it a man cave, because all of the Halloween stuff gets worked into upstairs. It's not all just kind of like forced downstairs into the jam area, but he has display cases and stuff for his masks and for his figurines. He's a horror movie collector of figurines and things like that as well. So he has display cases and stuff downstairs that they hang out in for most of the year. It depends on the mask, right? It's we usually buy, like, this is 2 different masks, right? So we usually buy a few basic pieces and stuff every year. Sometimes they get used, sometimes they don't. They get transitions to the next year's box of extras. So, whether they get, most of the time the big ones don't get taken apart once it's set up like that. It might get changed and repainted, but we reuse them. It's nice to, depending on the character and how much they stand out, if they have their own box, their own scene, that kind of thing, depending on how much they stand out, it's nice to use the mask to build a body or two, and it has people thinking the following year whether or not that person's real or not. Is that a dummy or not?
Interesting. Yeah, very creative. So let's talk some logistics here. Where are you guys located?
We are at 301 6A Avenue South.
All right, so 301 6A Avenue South.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, that's behind the Martin Bros?
Yeah, so it's kind of tucked away. You sort of can't get to it if you're on 6th Avenue. It's not a direct route. You have to go a little bit around by the park. Not a lot of parking, so, the more able-bodied you are, definitely park a little farther away and walk down. There's lots of houses to hit on your way down for candy. Otherwise, there's lots of parking kind of on the back field that faces the West Side Hill. So you work it in where you can. But we're just on the cul-de-sac behind Martin Brothers Funeral Home.
Oh, right on. So now you say it's a free event.
Yes.
But do you take donations or tips or anything like that?
Yeah, we definitely do. Last year the donation bucket was the last thing on our mind, so it did not get set up last year. But yeah, I mean, we don't turn down the idea that if somebody feels it's worth monetary value to them, instead of just a thank you or a shout out online or telling your friends for next year, if that's something you feel like you want to do, for sure. Whether it's depending on a few different years, we've made a little bit more than $20 or $40. Usually the money just goes straight to the power bill.
Straight to the power bill.
The 2 years that we've made any more than the power bill's worth, we have taken all of the actors out for brunch or for dinner, depending on plans. Yeah, because we don't pay them. There isn't much we can give them other than the platform to be their weird, fantastic, creepy selves once a year. So we took them out for brunch, and that was our way of saying thank you. Yeah.
That's amazing. So now, how how do people get a hold of you if they want to volunteer? Like, how do people go about that?
I mean, if anybody sees anything on Facebook, whether they're on your page and they catch any of our posts, Lethbridge Roast and Toast, we've posted a bunch of stuff on a few of those pages. I've had people reach out to me on Facebook. I've had people just stop by. I've had them mention at the door on their way through that they're super interested. And they have popped by the next year, getting a little closer to you, and just kind of stopped by. I'm not a post my phone number kind of person, so we definitely aren't opposed to somebody knocking on the gate and coming by to say that they're interested. But I mean, that's a little bit of a flip side of a coin too. We do have a lot of people who think they might be interested farther away, and as we get closer to the event, things change for them, or it becomes the realization of what they're going to be doing, whether it's an inner self-conscious or whatever the case may be, they just don't pull through. So, we do ask that if you're interested and serious, for sure, but if you're just dabbling, we're not really at that stage anymore for just kind of dabbling. There was a time for that, but
now you need full commitment.
Yeah. If you're in, you're in, and if you're not, then come through and check it out, and no heart, no love, no loss, right?
Yeah, totally. And so now for Instagram, because I know Kevin, is Kevin?
Yeah.
Who creates, and he's the creator, he has a public Instagram.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, so
he has a character, Instagram character.
Yeah, so are we allowed to say his name so we could follow, maybe see like the teasers and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what's his name? Because I have a hard time with it.
All one word, The Real Cage Cadaver, with K's. So Cage with Kage and Cadaver Kadavr. So yeah, he has a character page that's more or less just that, right? A character, his Halloween character. So it's good to follow him there.
That is so awesome. Well, I'm definitely excited. So again, let's just say the address one more time.
It is 301 6A Avenue South.
Awesome. So it's right behind the Martin Brothers Inn in cul-de-sac. Easy to get to, because if I could get to it last year, I'm pretty sure anybody can get to it last year. Or because, I'm terrible with directions and stuff, but I was still able to find it, so.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Your costume is fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I'm so bad. I'm wearing the exact same thing this year. Because it doesn't stray much from my actual character. I just crimp my whole head and backcomb it. So, but no, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming by again.
Thanks.
I am so happy we have you here in the community. You create such a wonderful experience, and it definitely shows. You guys have tons of people come through.
You do.
And I hope that he continues, creating and building this for years and years and years, and then hands it off to, hands the torch over to somebody who's just as, excited about it when he's done and over. So
I hope so too.
It's quite amazing.
I hope the tradition carries on. It's something that should.
I'm sure you've inspired plenty of people to have their own Halloween fun and kind of get their art out there. And stuff, and that's kind of what it is. It's like almost like a museum of artistic expression.
It kind of is. There's not a lot of places that his particular style of art is showcased here in Lethbridge. There's not a lot of places you can walk in and ask to have on consignment his style. So Halloween is definitely, and his show is his place to shine for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Erin, for coming by. And definitely everybody come by tomorrow to the Splatter House. Come and show off your gory costumes. See if you win the special bag. And if you do want to volunteer and you're totally committed for next year, definitely give them a shout. And yeah, because I'm sure they're looking for people always.
Yeah, you can leave
people.
us your information at the door, and we'll get in contact with you. As we were kind of talking, I was playing it out in my head, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to give you my phone number, but if you leave us yours, we'll your email address or that kind of thing.
Keep it underground, right?
Yeah, we'll get in contact with you.
Awesome. Well, yes, and thank you so much. I'm Katt Panic. Thanks for guys watching the Wake Up and Makeup Show, the Halloween Spooktacular edition. And yeah, tomorrow, definitely come by the Splatterhouse, come grab some candy, come watch the amazing art. 6:30 is when it all starts, and that's when you see the big shabam.
Yes.
Right? Gotta be there for 6:30, or you might miss out. So, awesome. Have a great day, you guys. Happy Halloween! And thanks for watching and listening. This was the Wake Up and Makeup Show by Katt Panic. Thanks, Just FM, for having us. Have a wonderful night, and stay spooky!